Absolutely awesome. And as you fill these out, make sure you don't leave those up at the podium. You guys gotta get out. All right. Our second speaker is a past club president and area governor. His interest today is sharing stories and encouraging us to use our noggin to remember. Just to remember. With his speech title, Do You Remember? Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster, Carmelo Belardo III.
Last evening, I was on the phone with my mom, who lives in Connecticut now. And we were talking about stuff, and I love talking with my mom. She's 80 years old, and we talk about stuff from when I was a kid, from when she was a kid, and it brings stuff back to me that I've heard before, and it allows her to practice telling these stories again, which keeps her mind sharper. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, we spoke about the Schimmelers. Now, don't ask me to spell that name, because I will not spell it correctly. We lived at 9414 Woodhaven Boulevard in Ozone Park, New York. The Schimmelers lived next door to the house that was directly behind us. And when I was a kid, I used to rent my next door neighbor's bicycle for 25 cents. So I would give Tommy Kaburis a quarter, and he would let me use his bike. He had a cool bike. And I would ride it around the block, and I would pass the Schimmelers' house all the time, every single time I went around the block. And the Schimmelers were older folks. I don't know, they were maybe in their late 70s or early 70s, and it seemed that they always looked angry. They were always sweeping the front of their house, even though it was always clean and pristine. They were always out there sweeping. And kind of like, seemed that they were trying to find out what you were thinking. Like they'd look at you and try to read your mind, find out what you were going to say or what you were going to do. Next door, there was a Colombian family. Nice family. Here, Benjamin, back to you. And I don't remember their name. All I remember is Carlos, not Benitez. But Carlos was the teenage that lived next door. He also had two twin sisters that were kind of beautiful. But Carlos built a fort in his backyard, and we had no fence. There was nothing separating our yard. So where did we hang out? Next door in Carlos's fort. And pretty much all the kids from the neighborhood would hang out in Carlos's fort. Now, it was a cool fort, but it wasn't exactly waterproof. So when it rained, we got wet and the party pretty much ended. And an illusion of the odors that used to come out of this fort, and I guess would go into the Schimmelers' yard, I guess it kind of angered them. Because every once in a while, when the Schimmelers were watering their plants with their hose, the hose would go and hit the fort, and we would get all wet. And most of the kids would go out and say mean things to the Schimmelers, but I never did because I would pass them every day, and plus if my father found out I was disrespectful to an elder, that was something to be avoided. So the Schimmelers were there, they were a fixture, and we still talk about them to this day. A few years before that, my parents went to a cocktail party in Manhattan. Swaggy party, they got all dressed up, and my older brother was to watch us, me and my sister. And they told us, do not go off the porch. So they leave, and what does my brother Paul do? Goes off the porch. Now, he was just right out front. We had a dog, his name was Rivers. He was out front with Rivers. And all of a sudden, the cops pull up, take my brother, and put him in handcuffs. And my sister and I were on the porch. We didn't know what to do. So they take my brother away. Apparently, he was with another kid named Kevin when he robbed a paper boy with, I don't know, a tiny pocket knife. Took $5, apparently. I don't know, that was his story. Now, Kevin's no longer with us, and now that I think about it, there's a lot of stupid kids from then that are no longer with us, and I don't know if that's a correlation, but that was a Roy moment. You were supposed to laugh there, but you know. So my sister and I were at home. We didn't know what to do. So we had the phone number for where my parents were, because there were no cell phones back then. So where do you think we went? To the Schindlers, yes. We walked around the block and we knocked on the Schindlers' door, and they answered the door. They didn't look angry this time, they looked concerned. So they took us in, they called my parents, and my mom says, as soon as the butler came with her Manhattan, somebody said, you guys have a phone call. And that was the end of their party. They had to come home, get my brother out of jail, and what happened to my brother after that was enough motivation for me never to get handcuffs put on me. So that's out of the question. It's not even an option. So why do I talk about these things to you guys today? Do you remember things from your childhood? Do things pop up and you run through these stories? Do you discuss them? If your folks are alive, do you talk to them? Do you ask them to tell you things? Do you recall things? And sometimes you don't remember, and they say, you don't remember that? And you think, yeah, I kind of remember, but maybe not. Last year, we were on a cruise, and we were sitting next to the, don't ask me who I was on the cruise with, by the way. There was an older couple sitting there. They were from Kansas, and the gentleman kept saying the same thing over and over. His rank in the military, what town he was from, what his nickname was. And I said to my friend, I said, this guy keeps saying the same thing over and over. And then when he wasn't at the table, his wife shared with us that he had an issue with his memory, and she had been helping him with that for a long time. So that reminded me that not everybody remembers. Which brings me back to the story we were talking about with my mom. My mom's 80 years old, and she still remembers. My ask of you today is to exercise the muscle that is your brain. Don't take it for granted. Don't take your memories for granted. Because if you can't remember them, you don't have them anymore. They're lost forever. So my challenge to you is remember this moment. Remember the other moments and talk about them with others. Mr. Toastmaster. Thanks. Thank you, guys.